Hello everybody, welcome back to that handicapping show at bloodhorse.com. I'm Tom Lamar, joined again by Pete Dank. And on the show this week, we'll be looking at the $1 million Delta Jackpot, which is a grade 3 event at Delta Downs in Louisiana. Quick note here, it is a 3/4 mile track with a very long chute that's used for quarter horse racing, but also used for the mile and the mile and a 16th. So you have a very long run, about 5/16 of a mile from the start until the finish line, and then of course you have a little bit more heading into the first turn. We point that out because with that kind of a run, usually an outside post, a horse with speed from an outside post usually has plenty of time to find positions. So should be an interesting race. Historically, it has been a good race. It's produced some nice horses. Pete, how do you see this one shaping up? Good field of 9.
Yeah, interesting field. I think the horse on the outside, Golden Sense, is the favorite here. Burn Identity makes a lot of sense. He prepped locally, and he's got some good form. But I think Golden Sense is probably the fastest horse in the race in terms of early speed and maybe late speed too. His second in the Champagne to Shanghai Bobby was a pretty good race. He battled with Shanghai Bobby for most of it and kind of got put away, but he didn't quit. You know, he was able to hold off a fairly decent horse in Fortify and hang on for second. So I think Golden Sense should be favored here. Looks like a tricky pace scenario to me. You mentioned that's good. You know, you mentioned the long run. There's horses in here that could be sent. I think you watch more Delta races than me, but my limited, I know you watch more Delta races than me. My limited experience at this track tells me it's ridden pretty aggressively, though.
Yes, you are correct.
You know, another interesting horse when I went through this race is the Calder Shipper. It's My Lucky Day. When I watched this horse's debut, I said, oh, this is a route horse for sure. But he sprinted for a while, and he's got some nice races on his form. And then they finally sent him 2 turns in the Foolish Pleasure last time. He stalked the pace. Wasn't an ultra-quick race, but when I started price shopping in here, you know, if Golden Sense gets bet below where I would want to bet him, It's My Lucky Day is a horse of interest for me in here.
All right. Like you said, kind of a wide open race. However, there will be horses here who draw the most money. One of them is Golden Sense, as you noticed, who drew the outside 9 post, trained by Doug O'Neill, who also has no more in this race. So when you're playing exotics, you know, make sure that you remember that the trainer has 2 horses in this race. No more. Horrible trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. It was his first grass race. Wide the whole way around, finished 13th. But a very, very good field in that race.
I was high on that horse early in his career.
Yeah, and he actually ran well. He's only run once on the dirt, actually, and that was the front runner. Ran, you know, a pretty good second to Power Broker, was on the pace, but I think he's much more adept from off the pace. We'll see how that turns out. My pick in the race is Burn Identity. You know, who may end up the favorite, I have no idea. But Kelly Breen comes back again with a George and Laurie Hall 2-year-old. He loves this race. The colt won the Jean Lafitte at 1 mile on this racing surface a couple weeks ago. And he kept the horse there, has a strong workout over the surface. Drew the rail again, which he had in the Jean Lafitte, and I think he can work out a trip here. Real quick, there is a Breeders' Cup winner in this race, and if you could talk about him briefly, I think would help the folks out here. Hightail.
And I want to mention I do like your pick, Burn Identity. I think he hits the board for sure, and he can win. Just a matter of price for me. Hightail, I thought he was on the best part of the track in the Breeders' Cup. I thought he got a perfect rail trip right behind the leaders. I didn't think that field, it was a very short field, it was scratched down. I didn't think that was a particularly fast or good race. So Hightail's one of the ones I'm betting against here, just about at any price.
All right. Hightail, you know, he has run long on the poly and on the turf, and the races weren't bad. He is by mine shaft out of a Stormcat mare, so I'm really not worried about the distance here, but I do agree with you that he clearly was on the best part of the track in that short field in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint. That's the Jackpot. Who is your top horse in the race?
I think Golden Sense is the most likely winner and should be favored, but I'm not anticipating a ton of value on him. I'm probably going to look to play It's My Lucky Day with Golden Sense and Burn Identity.
All right. There you have it, the $1 million Delta Jackpot on Saturday. And once again, be sure to check out Pete's Locksmith Picks at bloodhorse.com this weekend. And again, we thank Briss for the past performances. For Pete, I'm Tom. We'll see you next week on That Handicapping Show.